stop. We're not gonna compare the freaking bokehs when we do this comparison today, okay? Because no one cares about how the bokehs look when we're comparing two cameras, okay? You shouldn't either, my fellow photographer. Today, I'm gonna compare the iPhone 14 Pro 48 megapixels Apple Pro RAW to Sony Alpha 7S III 12 megapixels with a full frame sensor. And the question we want to answer to today is, which size matters? The sensor size or the megapixels? Stay tuned. What is happening, everybody? It is your boy Sean Alami, and like always, hope you're having a wonderful day. It is iPhone season, and iPhone season starts, unfortunately, a little bit late for us rookie YouTubers since we don't have Peter McKinnon privilege.
Hi.
iPhone season starts about 3 weeks later after these big names upload their fancy videos about the iPhone. But finally, I got my hands on the iPhone 14 Pro, and here we are. And I'm dedicating this month exclusively to producing content with the iPhone 14 Pro. And just like last year, one of these videos goes towards comparing the photo capabilities of this phone to a professional full-frame camera. And I'm going to compare it with the Sony Alpha 7S III, just like I did last year with the iPhone 13 Pro. Except this year we have a huge upgrade in the megapixels of the iPhone 14 Pro, 48 megapixels. And I'm going to put it into test against my full-frame mirrorless camera that has only 12 megapixels, and I cannot wait to show you the results. Now, I like to do this test with people being in front of the lens, mainly because I believe skin tones and hair help us really decide better. And that is just my opinion. You might not think like me, and that is okay. So last year we got it done with my man Anne Salon from Paris, in the beautiful city of Paris. And this year we have the privilege to have Arina, a Ukrainian singer/model, recently migrated from Ukraine to Germany, to be in front of the lens for this comparison. And the city we're going to shoot this in is the city of Düsseldorf. Düsseldorf is about an hour drive from me, and it has this really beautiful street called Königsallee, which means King Avenue. And it has a really high-end fashion look to it. It matches our theme, which is street fashion photography. So we took pictures from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., which allowed us to use a good amount of daytime natural light. And also, when it got darker, I was equipped with 2 RGB tube lights, which came in really handy because I really wanted to see and get a feeling of what it was like to shoot with the iPhone 14 Pro when there wasn't a lot of ambient light going around. Now let's have a look at this photo shooting segment together, and when we come back, I'm going to share you some tips that I learned myself photographing with the iPhone 14 Pro on that day. And I'm also going to walk you through my editing process, and maybe, just maybe, I will tell you a little bit about my new set of presets. But before we do that, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Epidemic Sound. You know, I spend a lot of time creating my videos, right? And a big part of that goes choosing the right music. So if you create content like me and you need access to a music library where you could access it from a computer with a click of a button, a library with over 35,000 tracks and 90,000 sound effects, insanely well organized, music categorized into genres, moods, albums, and a lot of different playlists and different themes, all designed to help you find the right music you're looking for in a matter of minutes. Now here comes the great part. Click the link on my bio to get a 30-day trial to this wonderful music library. Now here's the best part. Are you ready? Even if you cancel your subscription after your whole month is over, any music you've chosen during this trial will absolutely remain safe and protected, meaning you can keep the license on it for that video forever. That's a no-brainer if you ask me. You have nothing to lose. Link in the description. Suit yourself. So I'm gonna go up to 1/3 of 320 for shutter speed because she's moving fast, and the F is at F. I think I'm gonna go to 3 just to get a little bit of shadow depth of field for this one. But the problem is with this camera, I can get low while she's walking. It's a little bit tougher to do that with the iPhone, but we're gonna try it. So let's get to it. Ready? Let's go. Come. So one problem I ran into was that using the original iPhone app, the shutter speed was too slow, so when she was walking fast, it was getting blurry. So I had to change the app, and I'm using the Halide app where it allows me to bump up the shutter speed. Now I'm shooting at 1/200th of a second, and it's able to fix that problem for me. go over my camera settings here. So I have a 16 to 35 millimeter lens on this thing. And usually my preference has always been to keep my shutter speed at 1/200th of a second. We are daylight here, so we should be good to go. I'm gonna bring this ISO down to like 320 and my f-stop. Because I'm shooting against the wall, I don't need any depth of field. I'm gonna push it to f4.0 and yeah, let's see how we do. I'm gonna put a white balance. I'm staying, because it's a sunny day, 5,300. Alright, so how do you think the iPhone 14 Pro did? I can't wait to hear your comments in the comment sections. Let's go over each image and look at them side by side. But this time I want to do it raw, unedited. And I'm going to walk you through my editing process as well. Alright, so let's look at these pictures in raw format. So we have right now here this Sony picture raw on the left side. Alright, the first thing we have to do with these iPhone pictures is to change the profile to Apple Pro RAW. Now, the first thing I noticed, just editing all these pictures all together, was that the pictures from the iPhone were a little bit more green. So I had to do a little bit of adjustments in the tint to kind of get rid of the touch. This is it on the left side. You're looking at a full frame 12 megapixels, and I use my Sony for all the photography I need because I don't do any prints, and the 12 megapixels for my YouTube, for Instagram, just does a perfect job for me. If you were to ask me from the comparison that I've done so far, really, I think the full frame sensor kind of wins here, because there's something about the full frame sensor that you cannot find in a smaller size sensor, unfortunately. But let's go on, let's have a look at more examples and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I just want to tell you my editing process. Since I don't have a lot of time, I've created these presets. My editing process is really fast. So as long as you have a good understanding of how Lightroom works, you apply any of these presets and you choose the look that you want, you're pretty much good to go. So you can head over to SeanAlami.com/shop or click the link in the description and you can grab these set of presets currently on sale for $35, including 6 presets. You can install them on your Lightroom desktop or mobile, and you will give your pictures a modern cinematic look in just seconds. And this picture is right off the bat from the iPhone 14 Pro. Higher megapixels, like I can zoom in on this thing and I still have a lot of detail on her face. And if I was to do that with this picture, I might not have as much detail, but if I was to look at it just like that, it looks pretty damn good to me. I mean, the iPhone looks pretty good. It's really hard to tell the difference. We're just talking about minor differences here. There's something about that full frame, the highlights, the colors, the combination of highlights and shadows and the colors, everything just, it looks really good in my opinion when it comes to a full frame sensor. Now, let's go to Apple Pro RAW. Now here, I was shooting at, I think F3, if I'm not mistaken, with the Sony Alpha 7S III. So you see a little bit of that depth of field in the background, and here is all the way sharp, all the way to the back. I mean, you can do quick tricks and you can invert that and just reduce the sharpness just a little bit, just to kind of get that same feeling, and then come here with a brush, yeah, and eliminate the foreground, something like that. But that's pretty much it. Every time I apply one of these presets, I mean, if you don't like the colors of a preset, don't just say, you know, that preset doesn't work for me. You have to have the right eye in order to be able to fix that problem. And right away I see here there's a lot of contrast going on. So what I do is that I reduce that, and right away this picture has a nice look to it. All right, so let's move on to the next picture. The iPhone doesn't look sharp overall, especially on her face. I don't know why that is. My Sony here was able to produce a beautiful picture. I can choose any of these presets, and we have ourselves a beautiful picture. Apple Pro Raw. And if we were to compare it with this picture, what you can do when you do end up applying a preset, you can always reduce it. This is a new Lightroom feature, which is really great. And if I was to go back here now, it's not as intensive as it was before. And you can also control this, which might come in handy in some cases. But if we look at these images, it is pretty impressive what these phones are able to do. I mean, the details, the color tones, it looks pretty amazing to me. Apply this preset here, reduce it a touch. You know, using just these two sliders, I'm able to kind of edit these pictures without even going so much into the basic sliders of Lightroom. And to me, that picture looks pretty good. It has a nice look to it, but it's pretty damn close. I personally like the look of the Sony, but it is pretty damn close. This is, again, it comes back to my point when I say the full frame just wins. Now, these next set of pictures were taken around 8 p.m. and it was already completely dark, so there was absolutely no ambient light. And with just two tube lights, I think the iPhone did pretty good. Let's zoom in here. I mean, it's not bad. Now let's look at the picture from Sony. Sony is a beast at night, so it might not be a fair comparison. The Alpha 7 III. Sony on the left, iPhone 14 on the right. You can see higher megapixel, lower megapixels, and looking at that just the way it is, with the same lighting, it looks, I think though the Sony is a clear winner on this one. But again, this is a phone we're talking about, and it's pretty damn close. And if I was to apply my brand new preset called Neon on it, gorgeous. Again, I'm gonna say Sony, but you'll be the judge. And last but not least, let's look at these pictures. On the left, we have the Sony. Let's just look at this picture just on its own. I'm gonna tell you something. This picture just on its own, 12 megapixels, but just look how rich. The hair, the colors of the skin, the detail, with just one light at nighttime. Maybe it's the power of Sony when it gets dark. I don't know what it is. Unedited, raw. I love everything about this picture. And here, the problem with the iPhone, I mean, it's still pretty good, but you don't see the same, you know, look. So at the end of the day, in my opinion, I believe the higher megapixels is not enough to beat the sensor size, but that is pretty much my opinion. Please tell me if you agree or disagree with me in the comment sections. If you found this video useful, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Until we see each other next time, stay safe.